There are a lot of challenges that African governments are facing. There's conflict, there's hunger, there's high levels of poverty, huge inequality gaps that exist in many of these countries. So they're struggling just to survive. And I think when we position issues of climate change as something that is special and that is an added on top of all of these, they need to look like these governments are not doing anything. I think for me, it is important to link issues of climate change to issues of development, right? Making sure that people have got access to clean water, access to energy, access to food, and all of these. And ensuring that the way that we are delivering the access to these services is in itself climate responsive. But the fact that they keep on showing up, even with little resources, to these multilateral processes, the UN processes that are skewed many times to those with resources. They can bring 20 delegation members because they can afford it. But a small African country like Lesotho, for example, might not be able to afford even having 3 people to fly to Glasgow to be able to represent their own country effectively. These meetings take place the whole time. If it's a week, it's a whole week, day and night. And you need to be in all sorts of gatherings that are happening in parallel. How are you going to do it with a 2-person delegate? How are you going to do it? And I think that's where we need to really ask, are these countries being supported to fully show up and to fully engage? Because at the moment, they're not. There's unequal participation. The COP processes are inaccessible. Many of the African countries rely on NGOs to supplement their own engagements. So if you ask me, are they serious? They are, regardless of the many challenges that they have to fight. So at the moment, there's perception that, for example, African countries are corrupt and they shouldn't be accessing the funds. When you come into South Africa, nobody would like to support the local government, right? Particularly, there's some support for cities, but there's no support for secondary cities, for metros, and no support for secondary cities and smaller local municipalities. And if we are not coming together to actually, as various stakeholders, private sector, international development agencies, and foreign governments, and national government, to be able to look at how can we be able to work with the local government to make sure that we've got capacity, that climate change is institutionalized. It's not just programs coming here and there, and that the support that is being given is also coordinated, because you've got development agencies, each with their own agenda. And they would come and say, we want to run this with they pick and choose their own municipalities that they want to work with, or their own metros, and leave out the rest. What support does local government need? Because that's really a level of government that has been left out. And we need to have it back into the center, because that's the closest level of government to the people. And if that's the case, then we need to change the way that we're looking at them. They need support to prepare climate change response projects. They need project preparation support. They also need to be assisted to be directed, where are these funds? Where are they sitting, right? And if we are complaining about lack of good governance and all of this, what are we doing to be able to resolve that? The private sector has got a role, civil society has got a role. But often, most times, we are only looking at our own agenda as organizations and as development organizations and everybody, without actually looking at what are the problems and how can we be able to resolve. We are delaying South Africa's contribution. We are delaying South Africa's contribution into the fight against climate change by leaving local government outside of this. We need to have a coordinated approach in terms of how we respond to climate change at the local government level. Really linking from the national provincial down to the local. And once we've sorted out that level of coordination and communication between the three spheres of government, we then, really what we're doing, we're empowering the local government to be able to articulate the climate change response message to the citizens of this country.